Greetings, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of Around the Verse. I'm Sandy Gardner.
And I'm Ben Lesnick.
What's been happening in your world, Ben?
A lot of work, but getting ready for Dragon Con, and we're getting ready for version 0.9 of Arena Commander. It's looking like, as of today, that it's not going to hit on Friday. Cross your fingers, but whatever happens, we'll post a comment link letting you know the status. And
our very own Alex Mabry did a bit of a talk the other day.
Yes, we have a small partnership with AMD. We're going to be including a limited edition racer variant of the Mustang with some upcoming graphics cards starting around the end of September.
It looks super cool, and I would like one. The pilot looks cool too.
Here is Alex's presentation.
But of course you can get this in game. So
absolutely, absolutely. When we say exclusive, we don't mean you can never get it in the game, just during the pledge campaign.
We also had a bit of fun this week.
Yes, Sandy and I did the Ice Bucket Challenge right here in the alley outside Cloud Imperium.
To support ALS.
Check out how that went.
Hi everybody, it's Ben Lesnick and Sandy Gardner. We were challenged by the RSI forums to do the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Here we go.
Right, and we are nominating Eric Peterson, Mark Skelton, and Rob Irving.
There you go. Take that, Austin. You ready?
I'm free.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. I should have worn shoes. I got a perfect challenge for you, Ben.
My pants are wet.
You were just like cool as a cucumber, and I just was all kinds of crazy. But we also, let's go to the Austin team because they also took up the challenge.
Hey everybody, we've been challenged by our Vice President of Marketing, Sandy Gardner, and our Community Manager, Ben Lesnick, to take the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Now, we support, at CIG support ALS and the research being done behind it. Mark's warming up over here. Rob's already warm with his heat. And I did this weekend, so I'm doing it again, baby. And we're supposed to challenge 3 people. We're challenging Aaron Roberts at Foundry 42, Nick Elms at Foundry 42, and Phil Miller at Foundry 42. So you guys need to get your ice bucket on. So you guys ready for this?
No.
All right.
Not even close.
Jesus. For ALS, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Back to you guys.
If you would like to help find the cure for ALS, please donate to the link below.
Not my crotch.
Not Ben's crotch.
Well, let's switch over to news from around the verse.
News from around the verse.
Arena Commander, obviously the big focus is V.9, and the good news is that the build is now spitting out data for the leaderboards. It's just not necessarily the right data. We will keep you updated as the process moves along.
The UK team is building additional Murray Cup racetracks for Arena Commander.
We are working on additional special effects for the M50 and the racing mode.
And work has finished up on the M50 ejection mode.
That was eject. That was such a
okay, that sounded like an explosion, Ben.
And finally, recent LA transplant Zane, by the way, welcome to LA Zane, has been working on the HUD.
He has. I actually posted that on my Facebook page.
Here's the picture.
Squadron 42. Foundry 42 is working on the exterior of the Shubin station, including the gyroscope, refinery, science wing, living quarters, laser, refinery, and more.
The man in charge, Chris Roberts, has signed off on Chapter 1 of Squadron 42's story, and they've moved on to outlining Chapter 2.
Design specifications for the Mobi-Glass, FPS interface, gadgets, and armor for Squadron 42 have been finished.
And they've been doing a lot of work on carrier-based landings. It turns out when you have a complete physics system like Star Citizen, carrier landings become about as difficult to work in the game as they are in reality. So there have been a lot of ship crashes, but we are working on that.
Persistent Universe. ART is working on VFX for the jump gates and the cargo containers.
Lots of progress on generated mission design. They've got 3 sample missions up and running in their test universe.
The team has put a focus on the star system creation and loading tool.
And the guys at Moon Collider are working on updating the Kythera AI to work with some of the additional things Tony Zurovec would like to do in the Persistent Universe.
Ship's Pipeline. The Mustang is being animated.
And concept work on the Retribution, the Panther, and the Shubin mining box continues.
The Idris is undergoing a review. We hope to see more of her shortly.
And the team in LA is working on damage states for the M50, the Mustang, and the Avenger.
And now
it's time for MVP with our own William.
Hey everybody, I'm lead moderator Will, here to bring you this week's MVP. This week's MVP goes to Trendane for his narration of the Galactic Guides. He's been doing it for over a year and has over 20 entries. So thank you very much, Trendane, you're this week's MVP. And before we go, here's a few of our favorite Arena Commander kills.
Thanks, William. And by the way, William just got engaged.
Congratulations, buddy. You're a lucky man. Her, not so much.
Okay. And Jessica just got married, so congratulations to her as well.
That's right. Jessica, our event planner who worked on Gamescom. In fact, she worked all the way up to the day before her wedding.
She did.
We were all surprised and fantastic. Congratulations, guys. Arena Commander version 0.9 includes the long-awaited Murray Cup, or New Horizons mode, which allows users to race against each other. Let's meet the audio team in the UK that is working on that.
Hey, so we're the sound designers working in Foundry 42 in Manchester, UK. We've been working on the dogfighting module recently. We've had sort of, feedback from the community in the past, and we're trying to sort of take that feedback, wrap it up, and we've made a sort of good start now on improving the sounds. So we've got Luke here as well, who joined us. He's actually been here for just, was it 3 weeks now?
A month odd, yeah. I'm Luke Hatton, I'm sound designer.
Yeah, Luke's been here for 3 weeks. He's been sort of jumped straight in at the deep end. I've been here for 3 months, and again, I kind of deep-ended myself as well. And we've been making iterations on things like the boost sounds. We had feedback about those. The weapon sounds has been an area where people have been really wanting to improve them. So I did some of the lasers recently, and actually I think Luke, you took on one of the sounds.
Yeah, that was a Gatling gun, the GATS. That was a model number.
Yeah, well, tell me a little bit about sort of what you did with the implementation there, how you felt like you improved it.
Well, when I started with it, it was very laser, sort of pew-pew, classic, retro sounding, I'd say, really. And quite defined. Each particular round that was sent off was quite individualized, and I felt like maybe we can make it a bit more noisy, a bit more gritty, kind of intense So Stefan and I had many discussions, looked at lots of reference material for modern day miniguns and such, and sort of formed a design based off that, really, didn't we? And yeah, moving forward, it's just iterating, making it sound different to the other laser-based weapons.
It was that unique edge, wasn't it, that we kind of really wanted to put across, and you can hear when you release the weapon, the spin down of the mechanical clacking as that gun actually spins down. It's a really cool effect and it really sells like this gun as being an actual mechanical thing. And then I've been doing something similar. Laser weapons, we don't want to take it for granted. They are big, powerful things, and so they don't just sound like a pew laser. They've got that element, which is it's a critical element, but they've got the mechanical movement layered in some of the sounds as well. And so we're looking forwards on the releases after this. We want to introduce that to more of the weapons. We've taken a selection of them. It's been a good test case. We're getting feedback from Chris on it, and he's liking the direction it's going, wants a few more tweaks, and we're just going to keep iterating and improving it basically, so to make it better. Again, another area we've been working on is trying to get a better sense of the sounds of ships flying around you. So we've been working on quite an interesting system with flybys. Luke's been working on the M50 ones recently. Yeah,
I've been working on the M50 ones today, trying to make them as unique as I can. And took direct inspiration from Formula One cars, because obviously Formula One engines got that incredible tone, and they vary greatly depending on the speed and the model of what they are. So yeah, trying to inject like a different tone to match the look of the M50 and the feeling of it as well. Going at breakneck speeds and just kind of whipping past you. So want that impressive sort of feel, don't we? Yeah,
exactly. And taking another example of it, we had the sides and the glaives which are in Vandal Swarm at the moment, and we've introduced layers like animal sound into those, roars, very animalistic stuff. It just sells the aggression of the ships and the character of the Vandal. So obviously, with us being fairly new to the company, we've been elsewhere. I started at TT, and Luke had already been working there for some time, and I'd worked on projects previous to that, but that was my first kind of big gig in the industry, and it was great because working at TT, we really got thrown at the deep end. We were kind of working on quite a few projects,
big franchise stuff, that you had to do well, you had to do it right, and you
had to do it fast.
Like. Yeah, you have to do it fast as well. Yeah.
Used to working under that kind of pressure. So we came from a similar background, and when I got this gig, I put out the job spec for another sound designer. Luke got in touch, and he was like, "Yeah, really
very much interested." Yeah,
He really wanted to join in on this project because the scope of it it's like a sound designer's dreamland, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
It's too much fun. So yeah, thanks guys for listening. I mean, the audio is an ever-evolving thing. We're hoping to keep improving it. Should have more updates on that in the community, and yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks a lot.
Hey guys, I'm Stefan, one of the sound designers. So you guys probably saw the trailer at Gamescom for the New Horizon Speedway. I was working on the sound for that, and music was done by Pedro. There's a couple of areas which we're really happy with, so I thought I'd just show those, like let you hear something you might not hear as it's buried with all the other layers and all the music and everything. It was really fun to work on. One of our guys here did all the animation for that in the UK. The team's made such an awesome looking thing. So working with Pedro on the music, doing all these pass-bys, sound design has been really good fun on it because it's just imagining all these new sounds. But we've been using those pass-bys that I've been working on and sort of editing them together to make really satisfying moments in the sound. So as we sort of skim through this, you can see the first big pass-by. So you can see there on that first pass-by, originally Pedro kicked straight in with the music as soon as they came in there, but obviously I've spent all that time working on these pass-bys, so I thought I probably should give them their moment. And so me and Pedro, we had a really good back and forth. We decided to actually delay the music kicking in after the first pass-by, so it builds up, and it's almost like a false drop. into the music, and then you get as they all fly past, and then the music kicks in, and it gives both the space that it needs. We did the same thing again with the logo reveal. I'll just play that end section there. So what we originally had there was, again, Pedro's music came in and built up, and it had a big sting on the logo reveal. But actually what happened was we changed it so that the big build up in the music happened just before the flyby. And again, we had that really important breath before it all kicked in to the logo reveal, the big flyby, and it just gave the sound that chance to breathe and sound powerful again, because without that sort of downtime, it tread on each other. I really like the shot where it comes close to the M50. I think it was a really cool angle, and I was like, right, I've got a chance to sort of channel my inner Ben Burt Star Wars sound design skills, if you will, and see what I could do with that. So this is what I came up with. Nope, sorry, I lost the right section. So as you can see there, at first we just had some of the bass sounds there, and I thought I was really happy with that sound. It was things like F1 cars which are taken and put effects on, a couple of sports cars as well. But then I had some feedback from Jake, the guy that was working on the actual visual side of it, and he was really keen to really sell the pass-by of the ship that was overtaking the M50. So I added in the extra sound there, and you can hear that pound off to the side. Really happy with how that section sounded. So yeah, another part that I really enjoyed working on was where some of the ships are a bit further away from the camera to start off with. I think there's 3 of them that pass by, and they aren't so close like the earlier shots where they really whiz past, you know, right there. So all the ships are like full-bodied, whipping past the camera. So we'd kind of settled down at this moment, and it was a really good opportunity for them to play with that dynamic and introduce a really hefty flyby sound. And I took the flyby sounds that I'd made specifically for that ship, but manipulated them further and added in some more race car, I think it was a Mustang or something like that, into the tail of it. And it just has really cool impact. So there's a cool bit at the end here as well with the logo reveal. Added a few extra layers into that, trying to reference as much stuff to do with F1 and fast and racing as possible. So we actually introduced a layer for when the little star's spinning at the end, which is I think it's a rivet gun, or the thing that they use in F1 in the pit stops to put the tyres on, and it's got like a clacking sound. I added that in over the top, and I was really happy with that, and trying to use as much racing sound in there as possible. You can really hear as that ship flies at the middle, you can hear the racing sounds as it's coming up there. So with the music for the Murray Cup, Pedro, he's obviously very music focused, but he's actually quite a keen sound designer, and we actually have quite a good back and forth working with him, and he actually threw in some wind ambience at the beginning of the track, and I got this thought, oh man, what are you doing? This is my job. But actually put it in, and he picked a really nice sound, and all I had to do was just layer in a couple of gusts over the top, and it really sold it. And the way his music then sort of, again, he's very good at leaving a breath before the things kind of kick in. It then leads into his music, it's nice and calm, and I just loved how he does that false drop before everything's about to kick in, and then you hear the Murray announcer for the first time. It's just a very nice little sequence there. So you can hear at the beginning there was the winds layered with some of the extra wind gusts that I added in. Nice soft music coming in from Pedro. But then we have it building up and you kind of think something about to happen. And it's like you've kind of entered this new world. You start from the left of the building. It's quite sparse, there's not much there. And as you pan across, we introduce all this busyness to the visuals. And Pedro just took a cue from that, built it up and dropped it out, gave space for some dialogue, and then gets ready, gives him space to build up again into the first big pass by, which I spoke about earlier. So in the tunnel section of the trailer, I really wanted to sell the speed of the ships as you were flying past the objects. It's one of the fewer times in the races when you can pretty much guarantee that somebody's going to be close to something in their surroundings other than other ships. So really good opportunity to sell the speed there. You see the visually, it's just racing past you. And in the actual game mode, we did that with some big whooshes, one as you go into the tunnel, then you have a looping one which modulates based on the actual speed of your ship, and another one again that happens as you fly out. There wasn't enough space in the mix for me to do that. So what I did was added some extra layers in and tried to make it sound really reverberant and noisy. But then to give it a bit of definition, I picked out some higher end sounds and let them echo around the room a bit. So you can hear there's like a from like an F1 type engine. And that just fills the space and it cuts through all the other noise that's going on at the same time, which makes it sound powerful. And of course, you have there the big boost sound, which is again something which I've added to some of the ships for one of the main engines, and we sort of sold it by having that reverberant sound of the high end followed by jumping down to the low end to the big punch as it fires out. Cool, that was some of the Mary Cup stuff. Thanks for watching that.
It's very cool. I love our UK team.
Yes, and sound guys in general, they put so much work into the game that you just never really think about it. I mean, we all love the cool 3D renders and the animations, everything. It's the sound that really brings everything together.
Now let's go over to the best damn customer support team ever.
Hi, welcome to customer service. My name's Chelsea.
And I'm Alexis.
This week we have a lot of tickets, so if you're waiting for a response, please be patient. We're working through them as quickly as we can.
And I have a merchandise update for everyone. Towels and all-in-one playing cards, notepads are still available in the store. We're also having a sale on our Arena Commander and Hornet t-shirts. They are all $15 each right now.
By tomorrow morning, everyone should have a single-use handle change badge attributed to their account. You can change your handle by going to your account settings. I also wanted to thank a few people for sending us some gifts at the office. Wolf sent us Chewy Giant Nerds and Chewy Rents, as well as regular Rents, which are in a big jar behind me, so thank you very much. Everybody's been enjoying those. And Ruben sent me some nice personalized dog tags. That was very cool. I will be enjoying these. Thank you.
Where are my dog tags?
All right, let's go ahead and throw it back to Mark Avent with
Bug Smashers!
These things are just going to keep falling. Bug Smashers! Good morning. Welcome back to Bug Smashers. Put vodka in here. Hey everyone, this week's bug is a little special treat. You guys get to see a bug never before seen by the public, and get to see something we squash before you guys even get your hands on it. So I jumped into my little test map, as you can see here, and I'm gonna go in the game, go on my ship. So today's problem has to deal with the HUD and how it affects specifically the M50. Now, normally in our HUD we have 3D elements which pop up on the left and right of the player, and then one of the ships in the middle. And you'll see the left and right panes rendering fine. Basically this guy and this guy. Now for the Hornet, the 300i, and even the Aurora, the HUD popping out is perfectly fine in both first person and third person. And what that means is
When I'm sitting down in my seat, I see the little things pop up, hit third person, and they look fine. They're not clipping any geometry. However, with the M50, and when we're in first person, it's fine, but because we are a much, much, much smaller ship, when you go in third person, all that geometry that's supposed to be holograms is now popping out of the ship and into space. Now, if we go into third person, use the joystick, you can see, oh, was that the holograms rendering outside the cockpit? Well, now that's not good. What are we gonna do about that? Well, let me show you. That. Close that. Our HUD programmer, Brandon Evans, went through basically the vehicle code and how the HUD system behaves, and he introduced some new code which will allow you to scale basically all the HUD that you saw there, depending upon if you're in first person or in third person. So in this particular area, this is the seat for the driver, and down below here we have our settings for our visor. And as you can see, it uses, no matter if you're first or third person, it just uses these settings plain out. And all Brandon did was introduce a way to describe first and third person, and as you can see, he actually scaled up the first person quite a bit and scaled down third person while moving it closer to the pilot. Where is it? I see you. History. Got it. Whee. Go third person again, one more time. And we broke it. I'm going to default fixed. I see everything. Apparently he didn't fix all of it. He fixed half of it, but the other half is still popping up. So this one's fixed, but this one isn't fixed. That's the front HUD. I think it's this one. Let's try this. I know, right? There we go. So, the back HUD is fixed, however the front HUD scales a little off, so what we're going to have to do is actually fix, I changed the scale a little bit, but I'm going to have to tell Brandon about this. Alright, so Brandon introduced a fix for the front and near HUD, but for the back further away HUD it still has a problem. So what he'll have to do is basically apply the same things. For first and third person, we're going to have a different scale for that far away HUD, just like we do for the near HUD, and that will fix it all. Woo! All right, so I got to oh, you guys love messing with me.
Thank you, ladies.
And thank you, Mark.
Let's go over to our own James Pugh, who has sat down with lead technical artist Matt Intrieri. I hope I said that right.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Matt Intrieri. How you doing, Matt?
Really good, James.
You want to answer some questions?
Yes.
Right. Would you like to explain to people what you do before we go into them?
Sure. I'm a technical artist, and I also specialize in tools programming. So what I do is automate a lot of processes and try and get things done faster for you guys. Get those ships out.
Sweet. You want to mention anything else about yourself?
I'm a dad. I have an 8-year-old girl. And
that's super sweet, dude.
Very special.
Aw. All right, then. Well, with that, let's get into the questions. First question is a different isogen. They ask, in Around the Verse Episode 9, you use a mirror script to mirror the Vandal wing. In the far future, when CJ releases the modding tools / modding kit, will we have access to these scripts like this, or will we need to write these from scratch? Also, what other quality of life scripts / tools do you use?
When I first started here, we looked at the tools that existed, and there were none. We developed this toolbox to deliver the tools to the artists, and we call it the RSI Toolbox. And I do hope that gets released to the mod community. I did have a conversation early on with Chris, and he did think that was a possibility, but we don't have any formal plans at the moment. There are quite a bit of tools already in the toolbox, but it's still growing. We're adding more ability to edit XML and do all the engine side editing, and making that real easy for artists, designers to go and edit values and things. I'm still continuing doing these like ship integration tools where we just hit a button and it just flows right in. I'm concentrating on kind of this, what I call inference, which is when the art kind of resembles what it will eventually function as in the game. So you name something a door, it should function like a door in the game. So that's kind of where we're headed, and I did all this stuff for special effects. Now we can just drop boxes in, hit the button, add a bunch of particle effects. So things are moving along.
Sounds like a pretty good thing you came on the project. It was you got here, we didn't have any.
Yeah, there was nothing there. There was nothing going on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Oh, sure. My pleasure. I get paid. I get a check.
Oh, wait, you don't do this for free?
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure.
Wait, you get paid?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sorry.
Next question comes from Spoondagger. How much duplicate work do you have to do on a ship variance? Does the game understand the Aquila is just a constellation different cockpit, or is it treated as a totally different ship? If something changes in the constellation in the future, do you have to manually update every variant?
No, we are trying to optimize our variants as much as possible. We do share kind of the base asset, the base structure, but then we do swap in textures, we swap in some geometry piece by piece, and then we're also swapping in whole hierarchies. Say we want to replace the whole nose with like the cockpit, that's a whole hierarchy that we bring in. And we're kind of working out the details of that right now on several ships that are going through the pipe. And I hope to automate that process as well. So
seems to be a common theme with you.
Automation, love it.
Okay. Yeah. Next question comes in from Roger Wilco. How many more tools need to be written in order to streamline the shipbuilding process, or are they in place now? Should we see work speed increase as more of these tools come online and the staff becomes more familiar with their use?
Absolutely. Speed has been increased quite a bit already. We've turned days of work into seconds already in some cases. Like, I'll show you a few tools that I have. I've taken movies of. We can now copy vertex colors across any geometry. We can, let me see my list here. So anytime I get a file from, say, CGBot, we order the damage of, say, the constellation, and we get it piecemeal. So we're constantly iterating on the main constellation to add these pieces in. So it's never like, well, we go to the animator and then go to the hookup guy, and then it's this. It's kind of like it keeps going back and forth as we get new geometry in and things need to be fixed and gone back through the process. So we run these tools several times during the process. One of my favorite tools, fix broken links. So I open a max file.
That's the nerdiest thing that's ever been said, by the way.
Missing textures. Dude.
That's the one that I love
that one. I love
fixing broken links.
Fix it. It just like, boom, it just lists it all out. I'll show you a little example of this. And it tells you if there's duplicate assets in the directories, and it tells you if it's missing or not. So it's a real easy way to reapply all your textures no matter where your max file is in the database. Then we have something called vertex color transfer, and that just takes a base geo that you've painted your vertex weights on for to enhance the damage, say, and then you want to transfer that onto our level of detail models or the debris. Well, now we can just do that instantly, and it does it by through the closest vertex. So it finds the vertex, looks at its color, looks at its vertex opacity, copies that onto the other geo's vertex that is closest to it. So Then you guys saw the mirror tool. So I did correct my issue. I was able to fix the negative scale, but I had a request from Calix, who is always, you know, I love him, but he makes my life more complicated.
I'm gonna tell him.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he came up with this idea where he wanted an asymmetrical spine in the constellation. And what that meant was, it wasn't necessarily that everything could be mirrored over directly. The way it was parented into the hierarchy, sometimes they shared a parent, and sometimes they were parented to separate wings, say. So I developed an enhanced mirror tool, I call it Mirror Stitch. Maybe not the best name, but what it does is it mirrors all the geo, resets the transforms, transfers the animation, and it stitches it back into the hierarchy on the other side based on a bunch of rules. And I'll show you the Mirror Stitch tool. We'll show you that right now, right here. Woo! Okay.
Wow.
And we're back.
That was crazy.
That was pretty.
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't
Thank
it
you
cool?
so much.
It saves us so much time. So that process alone, that could be a full day of mirroring each piece, going into the sub-object, resetting transforms, reversing normals, doing all this stuff, preparing it to the right thing, renaming it, all done instantaneously now.
Cool.
So what was the other thing? So let me look at this. So after we get all the pieces in place, on the damage hierarchy, we have to have representation of each damage piece in the pristine hierarchy. So what we do is we add helpers. And now we can do this automatically as well. And we'll look at that right now.
That was crazier. That was even nuts.
It really, helpers are, you wouldn't think they were that exciting.
They are though.
They are.
I mean, you gotta remember where we're working.
No, you know, when I can take a day of work and turn it into a few seconds.
That is pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool, and it really relieves Calix and Dan, who are doing the nitty-gritty work where they're editing the XML and they're doing all this stuff. If they can spend their time doing something more creative and trying out new things, then we get a much better result. When they're slogged down in the technical bits and they're trying to debug something because, you know, human error creeps in when you're editing so much data. You know, it's so much better to do, you know, the tool route and to relieve them of those repetitive tasks.
Definitely, you must be their hero.
Well, you know, one of the question on the forum said, you know, do they think of you as God's gift? Matthew means God's gift in Hebrew. Well, I appreciate that question, and not in so many words do they think that.
Ready for the next question?
Sure.
This one comes in from Zero Satava. Sorry, bro. Are you doing much with procedurally generated content and artwork? If so, can you talk a little bit about what the team is doing to meet Chris Roberts' requirements that the procedurally generated content not be repetitive or uninteresting? He has mentioned that several times in interviews, but obviously it's easier said than done.
So when I first started here, there wasn't a procedural content team established yet. So I was kind of thinking very broadly when I started out. And one thing you have to realize, we have Max and we have CryEngine. And CryEngine, the tool, the data in there is based on XML. So just getting Max to speak XML and back and forth has been a huge hurdle in developing procedurally generated content. Now, what I do already is sort of procedurally generated, but I think what you mean is like you want to create a bunch of planets, or you want to create, you know, like the Milky Way galaxy,
or something like
and that. I had a plan in mind, but they're kind of going this other route. They have this new system, and they're going to have these editors in hand. But I do have the facility to edit XML directly, which is what CryEngine depends on. So I can pretty much make scenes and layers and all sorts of crazy things procedurally, which I will be getting into. Right now I'm focused on ships though. Ships, and then I'll probably move over to a little bit more into environments, and then the open world, the procedurally generated universe.
Last question comes in from Garyon. We know that a fully modeled ship like the Redeemer means an additional 2 months of work by CGI programs ready for the game. What tools are in the works to make the ship creation faster, and what is your goals for future ships in terms of the time needed to create, the internal development tools available, and to make a ship model ready for the game?
In the past, we've had to go in and actually export each ship animation by hand, which means we enter the name of the animation, the frame ranges, what bones are part of it, and we hit the button, and we do that over again. For the constellation, you do that 200 times, and it can take a whole day. If you change the constellation in any way, you have to export all 200 animations. Now, recently I came up with a batch export animation script. And now we just, for every ship going through the pipeline, we have a batch list. We just hit the button and it goes bam, 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 and it just hits all those animations. This frees us up to change hierarchies at will, add more destruction or landing gear, everything that requires animation. The elevators, the turrets, all those things that are going on. So now we can do that real quick. Other things that are going on, I mentioned particle effects. Now we can just drop helpers in and hit the button, and now we've got explosions happening on debris, explosions happening when you detach debris on the main ship, and then explosions. What we really are excited about is you hit the ship and then things happen on the inside, and especially in the cockpit, you want that feedback. So we're going to be able to hook those up. We did that in the Hornet manually, but now we're going to automate that process. Coming up, we want to be able to attach things to the ships easier. Right now we have all these different weapons, and it's a very manual process. We add a hard point, then we go over to the XML, and then we add this bit of code over here, and then we go to the loadout, and we say this is what it starts with, and these are what's legal to put on the ship, and this size and this quality, and it's a little tedious. So we got to do this for lights, we got to do this for weapons, shield generators, all the little bits that attach. And in the future, it's going to be an automated process. The thing I like to do is infer that if a file is in a weapons folder, it's a weapon. It should be treated as a weapon. If it's in the ships folder, it's a ship. So right away, you kind of like have this art side mirroring the data side and the functionality. And we're going to keep driving forward with that.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
All right.
All right, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye. And if you have any questions about how the scripts work, or like you need a little tutorial on MaxScript, I'm thinking it'd be cool to answer some questions. You
want to say goodbye to your daughter or hi to your daughter?
Bye, Maddie.
All right, thanks again, man. Back to you guys.
I don't know what I just saw, but it looks awesome.
I am not sure either. But I do have some good news. James's leg is healing up nicely. He does not need surgery, so he'll be running around very shortly.
He is quite nimble on that leg, I must say. 1 minute he was in the alley, and then I saw him around Coffee Bean. I'm like, wait, what?
I think it's like a rite of passage for community managers here. About this time last year, I fried my hand, as you all saw on Wingman's Hangar, and James managed to do something similar.
I remember that. Poor you.
Big things this weekend. We've got PAX Prime and DragonCon. I will be heading to DragonCon along with David's Ladyman and Haddock and our executive producer, Alex Mayberry. We've got some cool stuff over the weekend to show you. We'll have a schedule posted later today.
We have Chris Roberts, Mark Avent, and Chad Zamzow going to PAX Prime.
That should be fun. So try to find us if you're at any of these conventions. We'll have some swag to give away, and we're always happy to talk Star Citizen.
Next week's interview will be with project coordinator Kami Talebi.
And last week, if you recall, James put together the script, and that has happened again. He has written as our ending, "More from the Wing Commander," and parentheses, "She is my boss, so no nickname, Sandy."
What? What the hell does that mean? More from the Wing Commander, she's my boss, so... Well, am I supposed to say something?
No, it's just a joke.
Waves and smiles. It's like a queen wave.
But wait, there's actually more.
There is. There's an art sneak peek.
Yes. If you saw the site recently, you may have seen some diagrams we did for Popular Science, which featured the Gladiator bomber. The guys in UK also put together a short video, which you can check out here. Now we can wave and smile. See you next time, guys.
See you next week.
Hey guys, check out the top 10 QA bugs this month. Number 10. Number 9. Number 8. Number 7. Number 6. Number 5. Number 4. Number 3. Number 2. And number 1.